Welcome students. This is in continuation with our discussion on affirmative action on the reservation policy. We had discussed till Indira Sahni versus Union of India, the judgment on Mandal Commission. Today, before I starting my discussion of the case laws and different positions which were taken by the Supreme Court in different cases, I just want to read once again Article 16 Clause 4, because as I said that whatever discussion we have had so far, it is relevant for both Article 15.4 and 16.4, because the problem of identification of socially and educationally backward classes is common to both the provisions, and the quantum of reservation is also common to both the problems. New issues which were raised by the Supreme Court on its own, for example, the idea of creamy layer, the question of reservation in promotion, and the question of carry forward rule. They were, although not there implicitly present in 15.4, 16.4, but nevertheless they were brought in by Supreme Court interpretation through judicial interpretation. So first I want to read Article 16.4 and then move forward, take up the discussion from where we stopped in the last class. 16.4 says, nothing in this article shall prevent the state from making any provision for the reservation of appointments or posts in favor of any backward class of citizens, which in the opinion of the state is not adequately represented in the services under the state. So backward class of citizens, there is a slight difference between 15.4 and 16.4. There the expression used is socially and educationally backward classes. Here the expression is only backward class of citizens, and here the reservation, any provision for reservation has been specifically used, and it is also phrased with reference to adequacy of representation, that any backward class which is not adequately represented in state services in the opinion of the state, then the state can make provision for the reservation in appointment or posts in favor of those classes. So now continuing with our discussion on 16.4, we have seen that Indira Sahni versus Union of India accepted the principle of caste, role of caste, of course along with the social, educational and economic indicators, to identify backward classes, OBCs so to say. And Supreme Court also then legitimized the 50% rule, that unless extraordinary circumstances are there where the population of SC, ST and OBCs is very high and their representation in educational institution in state services is very less, only in those exceptional circumstances reservation can exceed 50% ceiling. So those two questions were settled by the 9 judges bench of the Supreme Court. However, the question of reservation in promotion was shot down by the Supreme Court, that no reservation in promotion. The question of carry forward rule was also problematically connected with the ceiling of 50%. So if previous year's vacancies were sought to be carried forward, then the 50% ceiling will apply on it, which means that the previous year vacancies, the carry forward rule will become useless. So in order to undo these effects of Indira Sahni judgment, amendments to Article 16 were made, and Article 16.4a and 16.4b were added. 16.4a was to make it possible for the state to make reservation in promotion, and Article 14b was for the carry forward rule. Reservation in promotion, again we will have to go back to the problem of understanding the concept of reservation, whether it is only for the purpose of poverty alleviation. अगर ये गरीबी हटाओ आंदोलन है, गरीबी उन्मूलन प्रोग्राम है, गरीबी हटाओ प्रोग्राम है, then we will look at it in a very different manner. But the moment we accept and we understand, and that is what the conceptual background of the provision for reservation is, that it is for the representation of those classes who have not found any space in educational institution, in state services, in other structures of power. So from that point of view, you will see that reservation in promotion also becomes very valid exercise, because अगर प्रमोशन हो के हायर पोजीशंस पे नहीं पहुंचते हैं पीपल ऑफ SC ST एंड OBC, देन द रिजर्वेशन इटसेल्फ बिकम्स मीनिंगलेस. फोर्थ ग्रेड में और लोअर ग्रेड के एम्प्लॉयज़ में अगर रिजर्वेशन होता है तो उसका कोई मतलब है नहीं, unless and until people from reserved classes reach higher echelons of bureaucracy, services, professorship, they reach to the position of vice chancellors, registrars, directorships, chairmanships, etc., etc. High courts and Supreme Court, I will come to this question very specifically. Then reservation does not have much of a value at the lower level. From the point of view of principle of representation, from the point of view of democracy, if we are a democracy, constitutional democracy, then our structures of power must reflect that different segments of society are represented in it. Only then we can call ourselves a democracy, otherwise it will remain aristocracy of the elite. So these two provisions were challenged in M. Nagaraj versus Union of India. Supreme Court delivered this judgment in 2006, whereby the constitutional validity of Article 16(4)(a) and 16(4)(b) was upheld. And while upholding the constitutional validity of these two provisions, they were tested on the touchstone of basic structure doctrine, whether these two articles, these two clauses of 16(4)(a), 16(4)(b), whether they violated basic structure of the constitution or did not. Supreme Court eventually ruled that no, it did not violate the basic structure of the constitution, because it is basically carrying forward the agenda of equality. Equality is part of the basic structure of the constitution, and when you have Article 16(4) or Article 16(4)(a) and 16(4)(b, or you are giving effect to Article 16(4), then basically what is happening is that equality is increased rather than decreasing. Inequality decreases when you apply reservation in promotion or carry forward rule or affirmative action. Then equality increases, and if equality increases as a result of 15 and 16, 15(4), 16(4), A and B, then it cannot violate basic structure doctrine, rather than it is in furtherance, in promotion of the principle of equality. However, while upholding the constitutional validity of these two clauses, Supreme Court held that before the state could make provision for reservation, state will have to collect quantifiable data showing that the class to which reservation is being granted is a backward class and it is not adequately represented in state services. So two conditions were imposed by the Supreme Court for the state to implement extend reservation in services, state services and other institutions also. So the question was a collection of data which can demonstrate that a particular class is backward, socially and educationally backward, and it is not adequately represented. So these two conditions were imposed by the Supreme Court. Supreme Court also went on to hold that in this case that the concept of creamy layer can also be extended to scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. I have discussed that in Indira Sahni versus Union of India, concept of creamy layer was applied only on OBCs. As far as SCs and STs are concerned, it was presumed that because of their social, economic and educational condition, they as a class are backward, and it is assumed that they are backward as a whole. Therefore, there was no need to apply the doctrine of concept of creamy layer, which in a way, of course, I have discussed in the last class, it is based on the wrong assumption that reservation is a poverty elevation program. You see, Supreme Court took so much time, 25 years in N.M. Thomas versus State of Kerala, to understand that caste is the organizing unit of the society in the Indian subcontinent, in India. And then it took another 25 years for it to recognize and Indira Sahni how adequacy of representation can be furthered by the concept of reservation. So this basically goes on to tell about the merit of the Supreme Court also, in a way that all the judges in Supreme Court and High Court, they are appointed on the basis of merit principle. There is no reservation in the appointment of High Court and Supreme Court. I will discuss it briefly and the problems of it. So in Nagaraj, when there was an express decision by the Supreme Court in Indira Sahni that the concept of creamy layer will not apply in SC and ST, in Nagaraj, Supreme Court said the concept of creamy layer can be extended to SC and ST also. Now that was questioned in Jarnail Singh versus Lakshmi Narayan Gupta. A judgment was delivered in 2018 by 5 judges bench, whereby Supreme Court overruled Nagaraj judgment to the extent that it required collection of quantifiable data with respect to scheduled castes and scheduled tribes and imposition of concept of creamy layer. So that aspect was overruled. Jarnail Singh. So after M. Nagaraj versus Union of India, Jarnail Singh versus Lakshmi Narayan is another important case. Then finally, the most recent judgment on the concept of reservation is reservation in services and reservation in promotion is B.K. Pavitra 2 versus Union of India, whereby Supreme Court went on to uphold the reservation in promotion, and it held that when it comes to the concept of creamy layer, it cannot really be applied on the promotion, because promotion is an incident of service. It is not a constitutional measure. It is an incident of service. Therefore, under Article 16, Clause 4A, consequential seniority will eventually lead to reservation in promotion, and you cannot really apply the concept of creamy layer, because concept of creamy layer can be applied only at initial stages. So you see, if you apply the concept of creamy layer for promotion, then nobody can be promoted from scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and other backward classes, because the structure is loaded against them, and therefore eventually in B.K. Pavitra 2 versus Union of India, Supreme Court very rightly upheld that reservation in concept of creamy layer cannot be applied to reservation in promotion, because if you apply, then there will be no senior post whereby you will have people from scheduled castes and scheduled tribes finding their representation, or other backward classes. Look what has happened in, say, for example, the representation of OBCs in academics. One data which came recently, in government educational institution, you have 0 OBC representation as professors. Not a single person could be appointed to the posts of professorship from the OBC classes, because of the implementation of concept of creamy layer, and also because of this decision by the Supreme Court that some specialty posts or very senior post and position you cannot have any reservation, which is also not provided in Article 16.4 or 15.4. Supreme Court came upon its own, and the result is there for us to see that at senior positions you hardly have any reservation. Another point which I want to clarify with respect to reservation before I move to next important topic within this topic is the idea that reservation is or was for a temporary period, for some, it was a temporary measure and therefore now it has to be abolished, and all kind of debates are going on. That confusion is created again by misunderstanding of the concept of reservation. The concept of reservation that we have discussed with reference to Article 15.4 and 16.4, it relates to admission in educational institution and representation in services. And it does not, we have seen none of these articles 15.4, 16.4 or 15 generally or 16 generally make any say anything about these provisions being temporary in nature. So this kind of question is sometimes raised, objection is made that the constitution had made reservation temporary originally for 10 years. Now that confusion is created because of the misunderstanding. Again, the people from meritorious class go on to misunderstand the constitution so frequently. Recently, the one Supreme Court judge in one of the judgments observed in a very recent judgment in 2020, he observed that reservation was supposed to be temporary for 10 years. That provision, that confusion comes from this misreading of Article 330 and Article 332. Article 330 and Article 302 provide for the reservation in the Parliament and Legislative Assemblies respectively. Article 330 makes provision for representation of scheduled castes and scheduled tribes in the Parliament. 332 makes provision for reservation in Legislative Assemblies. And then 334 goes on to say, the original constitution said that it will be for 10 years and subsequently it has been renewed, extended every 10 years. And recently also it has been extended for another 10 years. So this is political representation of scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, which was temporary in nature and which was for 10 years. And it was temporary in nature and it was for 10 years also because Dr. Ambedkar knew that it is a meaningless provision, because it does not ensure any effective representation of the people from scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. And mind you, there is no provision for political reservation of OBCs. So it was only for SCs and STs, it was meant for 10 years, and it is a very ineffective and useless provision. And the uselessness of this provision can be understood from the fact that even Dr. Ambedkar himself could not get elected from a reserved constituency under Article 330. Why? Because you see, even in the reserved constituencies, people from the reserve category, SC and ST, they will have to get the vote from the non-SC, ST people as well. So their votes are always minority votes in a constituency, in a reserved constituency. And the political party which commands the support of majority communities, their candidate are able to win. So even if all the candidates are from reserved categories in a reserved constituency, a candidate nominated by a party which has got support of the majority community, only that candidate wins. So the true representative, the genuine voice of scheduled castes and scheduled tribes is never able to come to the Parliament or Legislative Assembly. The biggest evidence of it is that Dr. Ambedkar himself lost election under this provision, and he did not actually mind this provision being temporary in nature. And this was something which was imposed on Dr. Ambedkar by way of Pune Pact, which Gandhiji forced on him. So it was this political reservation in this particular present form was forced by Gandhiji on Dr. Ambedkar, and that was supposed to be temporary in nature. When it comes to reservation in educational institution and reservation in services, there is nothing to show, nothing to demonstrate that it is temporary in nature. It will go on, and it should go on till the point you have proportionate representation of OBC, SC, ST in educational institution and in state services. Now, coming to the representation of scheduled castes and scheduled tribes in educational institution, another very important discussion, development, legal dispute, constitutional dispute, controversy which arose with respect to them was reservation in private educational institutions and minority educational institutions. You see, when the privatization of education started taking place, the question was raised that students of scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and OBC classes, what about them? How will they study? Because more and more seats are going to private educational institutions. So some state governments undertook some decision. They came up with certain schemes whereby reservation could be provided to scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and OBCs in private educational institution, including minority educational institution. When that matter went to the Supreme Court in TMA Pai Foundation versus State of Karnataka and P. Inamdar versus State of Maharashtra held that private educational institutions under Article 19(1)(g) have a fundamental right to occupation, and their fundamental right to occupation will prevail. Provision for reservation or representation of SC, ST and OBC in private educational institution will violate their fundamental right to trade occupation under Article 19(1)(g). So Supreme Court said categorical no. With respect to minority educational institution, it did say that some representation can be made. But so in order to, you see, in order to overcome the limitation imposed by these judgments, Constitution 93rd Amendment added Article 15(5). So Article 15(5) provided that state can make special provision in private aided and unaided educational institutions. I can read the article. It says Article 15 Clause 5, nothing in this article or in subclause 6 G of Clause 1 of Article 19 shall prevent the state from making any special provision by law for the advancement of any socially and educationally backward classes of citizens, or for the scheduled caste or the scheduled tribes, insofar such special provisions relate to their admission to educational institutions, including private educational institutions, whether aided or unaided by the state, other than the minority educational institution referred to in Clause 1 of Article 30. I will come to this Clause 1 of Article 30, minority educational institution, and the problem of reservation in minority educational institution, and how Supreme Court has gotten completely wrong in denying a reservation to SC, ST, OBC in minority educational institution. I will come to it. I will discuss that with reference to Article 30. But this Clause 5 was challenged in the Supreme Court in Ashok Kumar Thakur versus Union of India. Supreme Court in 2008 upheld the constitutional validity of 93rd Amendment Act clause with respect to state maintained and aided private educational institution. So private educational institutions are of two types. One is where private educational institutes are aided by the state, aided by the government. Their grants come from the government. They are maintained by the government funds. So with respect to them, Supreme Court upheld the constitutional validity of Article 15 Clause 5, which was added by 93rd Amendment Act. But with respect to private unaided educational institutions, the question was left open. It has not been decided till date. Now what happened because of these judgments of the Supreme Court, that even in private educational institutions where number of seats are much higher, the possibility of representation of SC, ST and OBCs became very dim. And the problem is also very different in a private educational institution. Here reservation may not serve the purpose. Why? Because the students from SC, ST and OBC communities also happen to be financially very weak. So reservation alone cannot help them unless in addition to reservation you also have a provision for financial assistance to the students of SC, ST and OBC classes. Today more than 70% higher education is in the private sector, and no state government or no central government has been able to take any measure under Article 15(5). So far, some measures were undertaken by the state governments under Article 15 Clause 5, but they were struck down by High Courts and Supreme Court. So till date, we do not have any special provision for SC, ST and OBCs in private educational institutions. And the result of it is that you have denial of educational opportunities for vast majority of people, which goes on to compromise the merit and efficiency of the decision makers, of the policy makers, and of our institutions. I will continue this discussion in the next video. I hope that you go through these cases that I have referred in these videos, and in case you have questions and comments to make, please do so, so that it can be addressed as soon as possible. Thank you very much.